This video today has blown my mind. Hello, hope you're good. This is a bag of MSG, also known as monosodium glutamate. I've actually only used it once, but when I ordered it, it arrived in this like massive bag like this. So the aim of today's video is to truly find out, well, for me personally, like MSG, I generally used to think it was bad for you. So what it actually is, if it's okay to use it, and the difference between a dish that does have it in and doesn't. So let's get going. In the words of Shakespeare, to MSG or not MSG, that is the question. Actually, someone described it to me, quite a nice sort of simple description, as a shortcut to umami. I feel like umami was like a phrase that really kicked in about 10 years ago. Like to me personally, I started to really hear it throughout my videos. People were sort of talking about it and things. Obviously it's been around a little bit longer than that, but you've got sweet, salty, sour, and bitter. I think the fifth flavor is umami, which is kind of like a rich, deep flavor, which is naturally found in things like Parmesan, which we are using today. It's not my USP to go too geeky on this, but I genuinely want to know what is in this. MSG is a purified form of glutamate, an amino acid found naturally in foods like tomatoes, cheese, and mushrooms. It enhances savory flavor by boosting umami. Do not use more than half a teaspoon per 250 milliliters of food. But some of you guys, to help convince me about MSG, have sent me videos. I remember seeing one where there was a guy who was like literally sprinkling it on like it was sugar on his cornflakes, which surely can't be good. I always thought MSG was bad for you, and apparently that originates from a claim around about the 1960s called Chinese restaurant syndrome. Apparently it was that MSG caused headaches, flushing, or fatigue after eating Chinese food. I don't know if it's just me, but after I have Chinese food, about half an hour later, I'm hungry again. Like every single time. So that claim was based on anecdotal reports, not solid science, and multiple studies since have found no consistent link between MSG and these symptoms in most people. The term is now considered outdated and culturally biased. MSG is considered safe by health authorities around the world, including the NHS, the WHO, the YMCA, and the FDA. So for our first test, we're gonna do egg fried rice. Here is some white rice. I cooked that last night. Got some spring onions here, so we're just gonna chop those up. The thing I've really realized with doing videos is if I like take my time to chop a spring onion, I like really deliberately took my time with that. But by speeding it up like I just did, it makes you look like one of the fastest chefs in the world. Egg fried rice needs eggs, so they'll be there. We've got a little bit of salt and pepper, some vegetable oil to get it going. And this is actually something I was mulling over. I kind of want the basic stuff to taste not too bad. This is soy sauce, which does have a little bit of the glutamate in it. Some of the cheaper ones use MSG too. This is like a natural one that comes from fermentation. So we're just gonna, oh my gosh. We're gonna make our egg fried rice with these things, but then to half of the batch, mix in half a teaspoon of the MSG for some MSG enhanced cooking versus the natural stuff. Let's wok and roll. All right, so we use the B-cam to help us with this scene. The oil is nice and warm. What I think I might do actually is add the salt and the pepper just in with the eggs now. Oh, don't think I've ever made egg fried rice on a video ever. We make it quite a lot at home. I'm just scrambling up the eggs, all right? I really want to eat that. So we'll get the egg back in there in just a minute, but we'll add a touch more oil. And that's kind of up to you on the rice side of things. Like Mrs. B likes to really toast the rice almost completely. I'm just gonna get it nice and evenly coated on the oil, keep it over that medium heat. Now the eggs are going back in. I actually think, and hopefully we'll come onto this later on in the video, that you can impart natural umami by reducing the moisture in things. So when you're frying as well, perhaps we're doing that too. So in goes that soy sauce and the spring onions. Gosh, you can see how much that soy sauce has stained that rice. Okay, so I'm gonna put about half of that on a plate here. Now for the other part, half a teaspoon of the MSG sprinkled on there. Stirring it through, just to make sure it's all nice and combined. This is gonna be fascinating. Non-MSG, MSG added. They both smell amazing, nice and fluffy, but how will it taste? I'm not sure what to expect. Are we gonna get like a new flavor or something like this? Non-MSG. Egg fried rice for breakfast. Am I hungover? That's really nice. We only put a small amount of soy sauce in there, which is running through it, which is probably the most flavor out of all of it. Little bit of spring onion. So here we go. It doesn't smell any different. Like, will the flavor change? I don't know if it's supposed to do that though. Wow, straight away. I don't know how to describe that, which is brilliant for a video. It's almost like rounded. It's rounded all the flavours together, almost like enhanced them in different ways and made the dish kind of like complete. It doesn't feel like it's added a different flavour, it just feels like it's enhanced all of the ones that are already in there. Like the egg tastes eggier. Yeah, the egg tastes eggier, the rice tastes ricier, the spring onions taste spring onionier. That's how I'm gonna summarise it. It's just made it. Oh, that tastes really plain now. That's weird. It's just made it really complete. Oh my gosh. That is amazing how half a teaspoon of that has made such an entire profile dish. Like, you could serve that to someone and be like, yeah, it's not bad. Just shove a little bit of that in. I mean, we've already just done test one, but this could be a complete get out of jail for nearly every dish in your house. I don't know if it's making it slightly more addictive, but I really want to keep eating that. That, not so much. There is a blandness to it. For test number 2, I want to see how it impacts something savoury again, but with more of a creamy base. So let's go on to test 2, but I still can't believe that the soy sauce flavour too was completely elevated, like umami on top of umami. It tasted just like takeaway egg fried rice, and I've been nibbling on that. I think I'm addicted to it. I don't know if that's a side effect. So I want to see the impact it makes now on a creamy base. So we're going to do a mac and cheese to see, by stirring that in, what difference that makes to the final sauce. But first, we need to make it. All right, return of the mac. I'm really intrigued for this one. I guess one thing this is making me realise is it's always been there. But hey, with cheese, and this is cheddar, not Parmesan, we'll come on to that later, what difference is that going to make? Whilst we're waiting for that water to come to boil for mac, I was just reading, and you can increase umami naturally by different cooking methods. Roasting or grilling will remove moisture and concentrate glutamates. Browning or caramelization can add a savoury depth. Drying or dehydrating, oh, we've done some of that this year. I did that like crazy muffin. That increases the glutamate per gram by taking out moisture. So when we made that homemade fruit leather, that's why it got sweeter. All of that moisture gets taken out. Umami. This is actually quite fascinating. Okay, so this is just about coming to a boil. Macaroni goes in there. We're gonna cook it until it's al dente. Which, if I start reading into it now, is gonna tell me that gives it umami. Now here is a block of cheddar cheese. I bought 2 of these intentionally for a recent kitchen hacks video with Mrs. B. There's another one identical to this in the drawer, and it didn't get used yet. The other day, I'm fairly certain I did a phrase where I said whisk-a-roo. With our butter melted, we do whisk-a-roo as we whisk the flour through into the butter to cook it slightly, and then we slowly add in milk. Just gonna whisk this together until it thickens up. In goes the cheddar. Maybe some salt as well, and some pepper too. That's all we're gonna put in it. So like before, we'll do MSG on this side. I think it could be a way that if you're like really aware of making like quite bland dishes and you're not sure why, to have a little packet of this to one hand could really be a game changer. So I'm doing this in isolation first because I think like the pasta might kind of like deter the taste. You know what I mean? It's kind of maybe like absorb some of the flavour. Right, okay, non-MSG first. Ooh, that's quite nice. For me, that's got a really nice balanced flavour. Slightly on the salty side, if anything. Cheesy, creamy, quite evenly seasoned. What is this gonna be like? What? The moment that hit my tongue, it's 100% increased the saltiness, but also the cheese too. Oh my, oh gosh, it just, I think complete was the word I used on the first recipe, that like the richness in that particularly. Maybe that's much more recipe dependent, I guess rice versus like cheese and milk and dairy. There's that creaminess, that richness to sort of pull out of it, and that has heightened the lot. Oh. But it doesn't feel like it's ruined. Let me go back to this one. See, now I've gone back to that one, I can taste the parts in there that have been enhanced, but they're much more minimal and they last in the mouth a lot less. Pasta in. Non-MSG. The pasta really has made that subtle. you've like lost. If you had that sauce in isolation, it was okay. The impact of pasta on that is, it feels like it sort of watered it down or diluted it. Like, that's quite disappointing. They're still there, but here we go. This is ridiculous. How? How can something that looks like sugar transform something? That is incredible. That has not lost, I mean, it might have, but it has not lost any of the flavour like that has. Absolutely bonkers. Our final test will also be savoury, but I want to do a secondary bonus one involving a creamy dessert. Yoghurt. I have no idea if this is going to work. So this is a bit of a curveball, this one. MSG doesn't typically enhance sweetness, although people have said putting it in like melted chocolate and things can really add some depth. I don't really fancy doing this today, however, I really want to do a follow-up to this already, or you might just see me starting to put MSG in everything. But this is a strawberry yoghurt. It's actually fairly sweet, so it might not make much difference at all. If anything, it might make it taste a bit disgusting. I just don't like how much this is winning right now, okay? So I'm actually going to go for slightly less. That was probably about a quarter of a teaspoon, but I want to see what that does. Well, I'm glad it's done something. It's made a fairly sweet yoghurt, slightly bitter. Don't do that. That was blooming disgusting. So Boston, for our final test, the tomato sauce, I wasn't actually going to do the spaghetti with it, but based on that macaroni, the impact that had on our sauce by diluting the flavour was bonkers, and it's really made me think about every sauce I've ever made in my life, where you taste it and you're like, oh yeah, that's all right. And maybe you add your pasta or maybe potatoes and it could be diluting it down. So do we start to season our sauces once we serve it? Little sprinkle of MSG? So for this final tomato sauce test, we're actually going to compare 3 different versions. We're going to make a base one with garlic and tomatoes. That'll go in one bowl. The second bowl will be the same thing, but just with a little bit of MSG added. And for the third one, there's a few ingredients that are naturally high in the glutamates. I really hope I've pronounced that right for the whole of this video. I normally don't. So we're going to blend those into the sauce to kind of mask it. We'll probably change the texture slightly to see if we can skip the need to adding the MSG and indeed the whole difference that makes alongside dumping spaghetti with it. So it's kind of like 6 tests, not 7-6. So we're going to grill up both the tomatoes and some mushrooms. Okay, so remember what we learnt was by grilling it, that can add umami too. Some oil just to get it going. And a bit of pepper on there as well, why not? This is quite an emotional moment for me. This is the first time I've used the grill out here in the garden kitchen. Will it be the last? So we're gonna make this tomato sauce like proper basic. We've got salt and pepper, a tin of chopped tomatoes, no herbs in it, anything like that. So the first thing we will do though is fry up the garlic. That shouldn't take long. Is it weird that the most exciting thing for me out of all of this is to see what the impact of the spaghetti has, a little bit like the macaroni? I cannot believe that. It's making me really overthink all those bland dinners we've ever had. Is the pasta making like everything bland? What impact does that make on a pasta bake? These are the things as a middle-aged man that my friends probably get confused that I get excited about. And don't get me wrong, like if I was just making this, we'd be putting like basil, some more seasoning in there, maybe some sugar. We're just gonna gently warm this through, let the garlic and the tomato get to know each other, work those flavors together. We're cooking these up and our other tomatoes and mushrooms are grilling down below, but we're not done yet. Cooking the pasta. Beautiful, lovely grilled mushrooms and tomatoes. They've shrunk in size a lot, but we've just driven some serious flavour into that. So our spaghetti's nice and softened up. The sauce here has had 15 minutes to gently simmer those garlic flavours into it. It is a little bit chunky. Bingo. Okay, so I've actually got 4 of these. A little bit of sauce in that one. That's going to stay exactly as is. This second one, MSG is going in that one. So, plain and MSG. I'm going to put in a few slices of our grilled tomato, the grilled mushrooms, some anchovy fillets. And other than using it sometimes to make salad dressings and things, I did have anchovies on a pizza once. I'm not a Ninja Turtle. I did find it quite salty. But apparently, and I'm just going to put one in, an anchovy fillet is high in glutamates. But something that's also high in it is Parmesan cheese. This is turning into like our homemade version of the glutamate, like custom umami flavoring. And that's the reason I whizzed the sauce, because I wanted to hide it. It does smell a little different actually. I am getting the like a little anchovy scent there. So plain, MSG, our custom one. And I just thought about this a moment ago. I'm like, why didn't I do that with a little MSG too for an insane flavor boost? Okay, I don't want to confuse you, but I have actually spun them around. So the most intense one should be this end, and now the weaker one there. When I look at the screen here, that looks wrong for me, but for you guys, that might look right. Okay, so just the plain sauce. It's all right. That's a bit watery, actually. Slightly sour, actually. So will we enhance the sour notes? MSG. Oh my word. That is completely different. Like, in a good way. Not watery. It's almost like the tomatoes and garlic have been allowed to flourish. Let the ingredients flourish. That tastes like a really rich tomato soup. Right. Our non-MSG anchovy stylie. Ooh. Sorry, MSG, but that is Flavour Town. The MSG just enhanced it and lifted it. That has got loads of different elements going on. You can tell this is not a texture thing. It did have a slight texture, but there was just different flavors going on. And also, I think most importantly, it didn't taste solely of anchovy. You couldn't taste that at all. Bland, lift, depth. Now, what the heck is this gonna do? Is the MSG, remember this is MSG and our custom spinny whizzy anchovy stuff. Oh my word! That is absolutely phenomenal. Oh my goodness. That is, I thought that was good. That tastes like it's Michelin quality. That is absolutely bonkers. I've got to go from this. Oh, back down. See? Now that tastes watery. The MSG has kind of taken it out. Oh, that tastes watery. So what is this going to taste like? Okay, a tomato river. This video today has blown my mind. I said I was excited to see what the spaghetti would do. Let's quickly do that. MSG. I just flicked that in my eye. MSG alone, quite watery. Our Flavour Town without the MSG. Oh, that is good. I think the texture is helping because those extra ingredients in there is sort of clinging to the spaghetti a little bit. So here's the final one, the MSG with the custom whizzy whizzy. That is remarkable. That is absolutely remarkable. What the heck is in this stuff? Monosodium glutamate, purity greater than 99%. I don't know what that other 1% is. It could be swaying the scales a little bit here. But I found this absolutely fascinating today. I really have, and I hope that some of you guys have too. So thank you to all you guys that have actually encouraged me to try MSG. And I've always been like, no, but like actually looking into it like there. Maybe I'll regret it tomorrow. I don't feel like I'm on any sort of like high or buzz or anything. I think the most impactful one out of all of it though, the rice, definitely the sauce then, but the mac and cheese, it's phenomenal difference. A really simple way potentially to turn your food gourmet. If there's any negatives to it other than a doctor that had a Chinese in the 1960s and wrote a journal and then everyone just believed that, I think that seems to be the case. Do let me know if there's any more information on that. If you'd like to see a follow-up, of course, do let me know. But do comment down below, let me know what you think of the video, maybe give it a like if you wish. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Ciao for now. Maybe just a teeny amount, like start with that. Don't get addicted to it, but like, I think it's a really great way of enhancing your dinner. Like you've probably put all that effort into it, and just a little sprinkle, a little shimmy, game changing.